Please describe us the situation in Hebron in the middle of the West Bank and Palestine right now.
The situation in Hebron is getting worse, much worse than before, because of the Israeli occupation measures of restricting the movement of the Palestinian people. We have more than 100 movement barriers and checkpoints. We have streets closed because of the closure policy. We have more than 1,800 shops closed, more than 1,000 Palestinian apartments. In certain streets, Palestinians are not allowed to walk. Even sometimes we are forced to walk to the side of the road because of the presence of 600 settlers who are guarded 24/7 by heavily armed soldiers. The soldiers, from time to time, they raid our homes, they raid our human rights centers, they humiliate us, they kill Palestinians, they injure Palestinians. I personally was attacked and arrested and detained many times by the Israeli soldiers after being attacked by Israeli settlers. Why? Because as a Palestinian, I am under the Israeli military law, which means by law guilty till I prove innocent. On the other hand, the Israeli settlers, they are enjoying full impunity without any kind of accountability under the Israeli civil law.
Yeah. What is the relation? How many settlers are there in Hebron?
In the city of Hebron, we have around 600 settlers, between 220,000 Palestinians. Because of the presence of the 600 settlers, we lost the city center, the commercial market, the holy sites in Hebron are being closed, and many, let's say, important markets are closed because of the presence of the settlers, and Palestinians are paying high price because the Israeli government is working hard to displace the Palestinians. So the city is described as a ghost town. You walk on empty streets, you walk in an area, you don't see Palestinians. In spite that, it's a full Palestinian city, and it's the heart of Hebron, which is a very holy city for the Muslims, for the Christians, and for the Jews.
Pope Francis is very much in favor of the two-state solution. What role can religious leaders play in that case, in this discussion to fight against discrimination?
Palestinians were, hoping for peace since long time, and we had many times in the past religious, political dialogue with all levels, with the Israeli religious leaders and even with the Israeli leaders. Unfortunately, the dialogue is not helping us, is not giving us our rights. It's about that Israel doesn't feel that they should give rights to the Palestinians because the occupation is cheap for them. I think that we should focus on making Israel accountable for their occupation and making, the settlers accountable for their human rights violations and violating Geneva Convention and violating the international law. So dialogue must come after we end the occupation, because as a Palestinian, I'm under the Israeli military law. We don't have any kind of equality. We live in apartheid, because in certain streets in Hebron, they ask you, what is your religion? If I tell them I'm a Muslim, I walk to the side of the road. If I am a Jew, I walk in the middle of the road where Palestinians can't have access, in spite that it's my own city. I grew up there. I was born in that closed area, but I don't have any access to even to visit the house where I was born, because the occupation is working to displace the Palestinians. Nowadays, we are not talking about solutions. Nowadays, we don't talk about that it's negotiation or not negotiation. The Israeli Education Minister, Naftali Bennett, announced 3 months ago that Israelis should give lives to annex West Bank to Israel. And what we hear only from Israel, that Palestinians don't exist, there is no Palestinian state. You are with two-state solution or one-state solution, you have no rights. Israel killed the opportunity for two-state solution by building more and more settlements and grabbing more and more Palestinian land, and killed one-state solution by declaring Israel as a Jewish state. So why? Because they are not accountable, and they feel that they are too strong to be defeated, and they don't pay the price for their occupation, for segregation, for discrimination, for even their war crimes. As the soldier who killed an injured Palestinian, he got only 18 months in jail. Palestinian kids, for throwing stones, they get 2 to 3 years in jail. This is one hand. On the other hand, there is no serious intervention from the international community to make Israel fulfill the international law and to respect the international humanitarian law. All treaties almost violated. All my rights as a Palestinian are violated. I am not allowed to walk in my own street. I don't have any possibility for General Assembly. I am facing 18 charges by military court because I am a human rights defender, and I was trying to change the situation in Hebron using non-violence resistance. So even human rights defenders are targeted, writers are targeted. Anybody is trying to make a real change is a target for the Israeli right-wing government now.
Are there any human rights defenders, Israeli human rights defenders, that speak up and cooperate with you?
The Israeli government don't only target the Palestinian human rights defenders, they target Israeli human rights defenders. Beit Salem, Yeshdin, Breaking the Silence, Rabbis for Human Rights, they were attacked, they were restricted from their work. They are working now in bills to make them illegal or to make their funding illegal. We work side by side to try to promote human rights. They support us, they support our human rights, but the majority of the Israeli government now with shutting off the voices who are talking about human rights violations. They don't want to end their human rights violations. They want to end any voice talking about the human rights violation. And Netanyahu is trying to sell the idea that he's protecting Israel. On the other hand, he is, as a prime minister of Israel, trying to protect the occupation, trying to defend the illegal settlements, and trying to defend the human rights violations and discrimination and apartheid. This is what they are doing. We are not talking about that Palestinians are going to destroy or affect Israel. In the contrary, they don't recognize us as Palestinians. They don't recognize us as people who deserve full rights as they do. As Palestinians, we are calling for equality, justice, and freedom according to the international law. That's what are we asking. And the international community, as they are supporting Israel, they should support Israel to end its occupation and respect the international law as a package. They can't choose what they want and what suits them in the international law.
You're stressing the point that the means are non-violent that you're using. What kind of activities are you developing, non-violent activities in the defense of human rights?
I'm trying to encourage and mobilize Palestinians to use non-violence resistance to end the Israeli occupation and defend the Palestinian rights and to oppose the settlement expansion and settlement grab of our land. We teach the Palestinian youth how to use the video camera to document the human rights violations. We teach them how to tell the story to the international community. We organize campaigns as Open Shuhada Street campaign. It's about increasing awareness in the international community about the situation in Hebron and put high pressure, diplomatic pressure on Israel to end its occupation and to end the closure in Hebron. We organize tours for internationals, for diplomats, sometimes for Israelis. We organize campaigns to help the community to remain. We just established a kindergarten in the community where Palestinians are not allowed to have any public space, and the occupation is working to displace the schools from that area. Now we are working in a cinema project to have it as a place for the women, for the kids, for the elders to spend their time there and to learn more about nonviolence and to learn more about how they can have a quality life. We do a lot of direct actions, peaceful protests. We do olive harvest campaigns. We do all type of social activities to bring the community together and have a community resistance and to encourage Palestinians to remain in their homes.
You have to face a trial in a short time notice. What is your feeling about it? What kind of trial is it, and what is your inner feeling facing that?
I am very disappointed to be attacked by Israeli legal system. They surprised me last year by taking me to the military court, and they are just, accusing me of 18 false charges because of my human rights work. So next Sunday, I am facing 18 charges in the military court, which is very hard for a human rights defender to accept the idea that to call for non-violence or to call for human rights approach is incitement, or they just, try to say that I'm not allowed to practice my General Assembly at all by organizing non-violence activities, by participating in non-violence activities, many other false complaints from the soldiers that I have been obstacle for their work, or I attacked them, or I attacked Israeli settlers. It's kind of intimidation. It's kind of threats to me. I was the one who was attacked by settlers and soldiers. I was the one who falsely arrested and detained by the Israeli soldiers and police. On the other hand, they are taking me to court to put me in jail, to shut off my voice and to make me to make me without any kind of influence on my people. It's a symbolic action. My case is symbolic for other Palestinian human rights defenders. I'm not the only one who's attacked. I'm not the only one who's under pressure and intimidation. They want us to be silent, to coexist with occupation, and to accept settlement, and to accept the idea of living in a country as a second-class citizen without any rights.
Last question, what is a sign of hope that you have? Because otherwise you would probably not try and defend and continue your work. And yeah, what is your hope based on?
The hope based on that more Palestinian young generation are moving to non-violence resistance and participating in many social and political activities. On the other hand, I see a lot of support from young international Jewish youth, especially from the USA, who are coming to Palestine to say no to the occupation, as well as many people in the international community now. They are more aware of the situation and are asking to end the occupation and to end the human rights violations. It's happening. We need to make Israel accountable, to put pressure on our countries all over the world, in Europe, in the USA, and other countries, to make Israel fulfill the international human rights standards and international law.
Thank you very much.